man, just to, man, we about to get it in, man. Y'all ready?
Yes, sir.
I'm ready.
Yeah, man. We back, man. Once again, the No Pressure, No Diamonds podcast. I was forgot what it was called.
Hey, what you got in that cup, bro?
Hey, a little
What you got in
scissor,
that cup?
little scissor. Nah, man. We back, man. No Pressure, No Diamonds, man. My name is Alex Rose. I got my boy
Thomas Solano.
Man, we got a special guest in the house, man. Special guest, special lineage. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm really excited about the conversation we're gonna have today. Real introspective. We're gonna get I'm so used to being the young guy. I'm not the young guy anymore. Not the young guy anymore, man. We got somebody, man, with the great perspective on life and a business owner, man, and really, really getting after right now. And man, welcome, Mr. Adam Perry. How's it going, brother?
I'm doing amazing. Thank you both for having me.
Yeah, man.
Man, this is cool, man. This is really cool.
So real quick though, elaborate when you said lineage, right? Like now we're going generationally deep on our podcast, because if you guys tuned in, actually it was on live, but that it just got put out, right? The podcast with Lewis Perry. So Adam Perry is Lewis's son,
man,
but uniquely special and talented and gifted. So
in his own right, for sure, definitely in his own right, man, and taking a whole new, taking it to a whole new level. And that's what's what's really great. Before we really dive in, is to just see, he's so proud. You know what I mean? Lewis is insanely proud of you, man, and seeing what he's doing and seeing what's really going on and seeing how he gets after and how he takes, doesn't take advantage. He takes control. He's taking control.
Yeah.
And to see what he's doing, man, I'm really excited for you, Adam, man. I'm super excited for you, man. So tell the people what's going on. Tell them just a little bit about yourself.
Definitely.
So let the folks know, man.
In 2017, I created a brand of custom clothing for high-profile clients. I work with celebrities, artists, athletes, etc. I feel like I found my passion so early on due to the fact that I had experienced so many things that could have potentially been my passion. And then fashion was that one that's going to be the entry point.
Oh, the entry point.
To the life I want to live, of course.
Oh, to the life you want to live. Okay.
As well as all the other endeavors, yeah.
Okay. All right. That's what I took from that, was like, oh, this is just phase one.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
And then you'll branch out into other things. What are some of those other things?
I really want to make a change within the education system, reform of education systems globally.
Okay.
And also, I want to help homeless people worldwide. There's a lot of things, a lot of other ideas that I shouldn't probably speak about yet due to the fact that there's no implementation yet.
Oh, that's all good though, man, because you build things three times, right? So you build it in your mind, you build it on paper, then you actually go out and build it. But the more you speak about it, I think is also beneficial. So whether you're talking to yourself in the mirror or you want to share it here with us, I think that'll be cool. But it'll also give people insight to your character.
Definitely.
And what I've gathered just in the last 20 minutes is you got a lot of character, man, and I'm excited for that. So excited to dive in and see what that looks like, right?
Yeah, absolutely, man. So what really, because there's a lot of things to do, right? You could choose any profession, any route to go. So why fashion?
Why fashion? When I was in high school, I always looked for an outlet for my creativity as well as my confidence. I had no channeling. I had no sense of channeling or where to put it. And I began to just dress in manners that nobody would dress in. I didn't even like what I was wearing, but it was more so the fact that I wanted
to be different.
Yeah, exactly. Like I always strive to be different. And that came with just trying to influence people to just be themselves all the time, because I feel like there was a time where a lot of people were just trying to dress the same, be the same, talk the same, and I wasn't about it.
Cookie cutter.
You know what I'm saying?
Dude, I mean, that's so true. And it's been a long time since I was in school, but I specifically remember that like 7th and 8th grade, middle school, and then definitely going into high school, it was like all the dudes looked the same on this side of the lunch area, and all the dudes on that side looked the same on that side, and then the girls that they were with were all looking the same. So that's interesting. I never thought about that. I just thought like it's kind of the way it is, but it really is a lack of what's the word? Individualism, I guess.
Definitely.
Yeah. And also too, just noticing, just being willing to be different, right? To change almost like the status quo, which is in any profession, like, you know what I'm saying? To really make a difference in any profession or any, in the world for that matter, to be like, you know what? This is everything's the same. Like, we need to shake things up a little bit. So that's actually, that could take, you could utilize that in really any aspect, whether it's the financial world, like with the whole bit, like all these different coins and stuff like that, or NFTs and, different, like different fields.
Definitely.
So just being willing to, actually be different, and set an example and be like, you know what, man, I'll be the first one out there.
Well, yeah, I think individually it's definitely, it breeds confidence.
For sure.
Right? It takes a confident person to actually do that. You're like, I didn't even like what I was wearing, but I did it just to like not fit in. And, those that stand out tend to be the ones that end up the most successful, right? Or the ones that are willing to stand out. So
absolutely.
I think there's a great lesson for you guys that are listening to this, right? Just in what he said, that was profound. The confidence that it requires to actually do it, but then also the confidence that gets bred because you're doing it.
Definitely.
You get to feed into that. So,
and just willing not to conform. You know what I mean? Just willing to just step, take a couple steps to the left, which is really good, man. And so when did, so now you're dressing a little different, you're thinking things a little different now. When did it go from an idea of be like, okay, I kind of like doing this myself to, I might be able to possibly do this for other people?
I feel like that was always my aim. I feel like a lot of the things that I've done in my life and my career has been for the benefit of others gaining from it. And I'm all for helping people. I'm all for others progressing. Yeah, I'm all for just global expansion, the world progressing. And I love it. I love people. So they're really what makes me strive to continue to succeed.
All right. And so what was your first experience or your first, like kind of getting into the business of clothing, right? So getting into the business, like when you see like, okay, I can actually see myself, so when did you kind of get your first client or see yourself kind of do it? What was your, how did you see yourself or how did you get your first client?
Yeah, for sure. So I was deep in the rave scene, EDM world. Music genre.
I know all about that, bro. The first one was in '98.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, you were probably like 3.
I wasn't even born.
Yeah, damn. All right, cool. I'll take that. I took that one on the chin.
So back to the response. It was. I'm sorry. Can you repeat the question real quick?
First client.
Yeah,
first client. So Thiago, he's a famous DJ. And my friend invited me over for a family party, correct? And so his cousin had been dating this famous DJ that I idolized and didn't even know it was him at the time. And I had been meeting him constantly. So then when I found it out, we began talking. And that was the moment that I just told him, look, I want to make a custom piece for you. And he was like, let's do it. Let's do it. And literally 3 months later, he had a show in LA. And so for that show, I had styled him, and that was my first client. From there, he became one of my best friends, still to this day.
Yo, that's fire, man. Ask.
Exactly.
Right? Hey, closed mouth don't get fed, right?
For sure.
Or the answer is always no to the questions unasked.
Man. It's just, and then being in proximity, like just realizing, like, look, here's what I want to do. Here's a person that probably has some influence. Hey, if I can get this person to believe in what I'm doing, then guess what? Things will start, the dominoes will start falling in my favor. So man, people listen out there, man, just, you always have people in your proximity, whether it's a person away, you're one conversation away from literally changing your entire life just because, you just got to be willing to ask.
Yeah.
And that right there was just, man, that was gold, man. Just ask. Dang. All he said.
And I feel like being from California, everybody knows somebody.
100%.
100%. Like literally everybody that I speak to knows at least one person that's, a celebrity, an artist, a rapper, whatever the case may be, but they know somebody that can benefit you or you could benefit them. And from there, the network grows.
Well, you just hit the nail on the head,
I was
man, with
just
the
about to say
network.
it,
Yeah.
too.
So obviously, network is important, and the people that you're associating or affiliating with, and how do you drive deeper into that? I mean, obviously, you got a product
Of course.
that may create some curiosity, right?
Mhm.
People see somebody walking down the street like, damn, that's hot. Where'd that come from, right? And so you can get word of mouth that way. But are you intentional about driving into networks? Like, do you go out with the intention of
Definitely, I'm 100% a networker. To me, that's probably the most important aspect of business is who you know. Because at the end of the day, say you want to go to a restaurant with your family and you got to wait an hour, you know the manager, he's going to let you right through.
Mhm.
And put that into perspective, that can go into the business world. And so in terms of networking, that was always my main goal, was to surround myself with the best of the best and be able to just have those greater conversations, because I've been in the rooms with the top guys, and the conversations are greater. It's crazy. Like they're really talking about things that no one else are talking about that truly matter in the world. And that's what I like. That's what I like a lot.
Ooh.
Cool. Without throwing out any names and stuff, like when you say talking about things that matter in the world, like give us an example.
Just uniting the world, maybe climate change, everything, like things about business, things about fashion, just career wise importance. So I really like talking about my career as well as others, and learning about how they got started in their industries. It's really interesting to me.
Yeah.
Mm. And what's some of the common threads that you kind of see with some of the top people in in your world? Like, what are some of the common threads of whether it's work ethic, whether it's stick to this? What are some of the common threads or some of the common attributes that you see with some of the top people in the industry?
Confidence. I think confidence is the number one thing in fashion, because you never know what people are going to like, or what they're going to say about this piece, or what they're going to say about this whole collection. You never know. So to be able to sit in a room with a team or by yourself and fully construct a collection, and put it out to the world for them to see, it's a difficult task, because you never know. It could totally flop or it could do well. So you got to be willing to take that risk.
Mm.
I think you probably see that more in that world than anywhere,
For
right?
sure.
Yeah, like, because there's dude, I've judged some people. I'm like, what the hell are they wearing, right? Like Lady Gaga coming out in a meat suit like that. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like some of that stuff is bananas. Obviously, she had, she had some confidence to go out and do that. But whoever suggested that, like that's a bold statement, and
Definitely.
it could go either way. So, would you say that designers, at least the top ones, have learned how to just eliminate fear of judgment?
For sure. For sure. I'm one who does not care what people think at this point. Like all those times that I was telling you guys about, where I would, do random spurts of confidence for myself, as well as, inspiring others, or the youth for that matter. That's what helped me get to where I'm at mentally, in terms of, how I carry myself as well as what I say. I'm not really too worried about what others are thinking when I'm talking, honestly. I just talk.
Is it because you hold on? Is it safe to say it's because you hold on to your long term goal, which creates intentionality? Like your intentions are good. Would you say that that's a factor, or?
Potentially. But when I'm doing those things, I don't think that's on my mind now.
Okay.
Mm. Okay. So, because I think one of the biggest drawbacks to people even progressing is caring about what other people think about them.
100%. I
I
struggled for the first couple of years,
man,
and even
shoot.
sometimes still now.
Yeah. So having that and putting yourself in uncomfortable positions, really, right? So being uncomfortable more often really helps eliminate, that fear, or can, to help you build up a tough enough skin to really not think about that type of stuff. So that's really interesting. You put yourself in more uncomfortable positions, whether it's wearing something that that's a little bit off, that may be just off base to most people, but you're right. You're like, I'm about to rock this. I'm about to be out here.
Yeah,
you know,
definitely.
doing
Russell
that,
Westbrook.
you know, you
For
know what I'm
sure.
saying?
His fashion sense is honestly pretty cool. Occasionally.
Occasionally.
had to drill it in there.
You know what I'm saying? But being able to strengthen that muscle, man, of not giving a shit. You know what I'm saying? Just like, man, I don't care. I'm about to do this, and what I'm doing is beneficial.
For sure.
You know, so knowing, for the greater good, man. So I think
Well, that's what I was
huge.
talking about. Like when you think about long term, those goals, like impacting people, the homeless population, like that's, and I didn't formulate that thought properly, but
Is that what you meant?
yeah.
I'm
So
sorry.
like,
I totally.
yeah, when you hold on to that, when you're thinking about like, hey, long term, this is what, like my intentions are good because I have this goal to serve. You know what I mean?
For
Does
sure.
that help you eliminate any fear of judgment? You know what I mean? Like
definitely. Now I
because-
understand the question. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
No, it's my fault. I didn't ask it properly, or yeah. So
Yeah, definitely. I think, like I said, that's my motive for sure. Is helping and serving through God, of course,
Sure.
and for my family. So definitely is on my mind at all times. It definitely helps cope with the negative contingencies that come with the like learning how to become confident at all times.
cool.
Absolutely.
So Adam, you're born and raised in California, right?
Born and raised in California.
Okay, and you currently reside
In Milan, Italy.
in Milan, Italy,
Yes.
right? So talk to them about maybe that process, right? Because Milan is the mecca of fashion, right? And so if you were going to learn or be anywhere to take full advantage, or you know what I mean, start that process of taking advantage of the opportunity at hand, you're going to want to go to the hub, the mecca, so to
Definitely.
speak. You could have done it here in LA,
Yeah.
but what forced you or drove you to get out of your comfort zone? Because I would imagine there's a culture shock and
For
you know
sure.
what I mean, and stuff like that there, to go out there and kind of position yourself the way you have.
I think what drove me was back to the networking. It was being not only involved completely in the industry, but sitting in the home, like you said, the mecca of fashion, being in a place where everybody wants to be in the fashion industry, whether it's a model, a fashion designer. That's the key thing out there.
A photographer, man.
Yeah, exactly. It all has to do with the creative aspect in the fashion world,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just like California. People want to come here and be a star of some senses.
Right.
That's what it is for the fashion world.
Mm.
But yeah, it was more so the networking thing and being able to attend the events that I'm occasionally available to attend.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Milan Fashion Week, a couple shows, the green carpet fashion where it's held in Milan, and much more. So it was more so about being completely there.
Did it? Was there? I would imagine there was, but was there like inspiration? Like so? And I'm not going to pretend to know. So maybe you can clarify. Most designers have a style, right? That they kind of like
a genre of fashion,
exactly,
like a genre of clothing. For
yeah,
sure.
yeah. So I would assume that you had one being here in California, right? Because I'm California born and raised. I can go to any other state in the United States, and immediately they would know, oh, you're not from around here,
For
right?
sure.
Whether it's the language, I think a lot of it is the look too. But so going to Milan, I would assume there's some different,
for sure.
some differences. What was there an inspiration to, maybe add another layer to your genres?
That's a beautiful question, in all honesty. So when I was in California, I loved streetwear. I loved what Virgil Abloh had done, and I still do. But I love streetwear, and that was my aim. I planned to make a brand of streetwear. But as soon as I got to Milan, it all changed. I got another sense of fashion. I began to gain a global perspective of the world as well as fashion, and it really changed my idea on what I want to create later down the line. And being so young, it is tough to choose so early on, but it was a good move for me to head to Italy and see that all for myself.
That's awesome. What's the challenges of being young and in the mecca of design, fashion for you?
The challenges are, there's not many. I feel like there's not many, but it's what you make of it. It really is who you are and the work you're trying to put in. Because at the end of the day, you could be 5 years old, not 5. Realistically, you could be 13 years old, and if you got a hard head and you're willing to do what it takes, you're willing to put the pressure to get the diamonds. It's it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
It really is a beautiful thing because anyone can make it happen. It doesn't matter who you are. Honestly, age is just a discrepancy. I don't really view age as anything.
Sure.
Mm.
But do you feel, and that's, dude, I'm spot on, and I'm glad that you said that, because it really is. It's just a number. But being out there and people in that industry, right? Other designers, do you feel like they look at you and like, do you don't got enough time under your belt, or is it a pretty accepting community?
It can be. It definitely can be. But at the end of the day, I'm not hearing what they're saying about me. So
Okay.
so it really doesn't get back to me if they are. But nor do I care. Honestly, I'm just gonna do my thing, and I know where I'm headed. So that's all
Cool.
that matters.
Confidence.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No, I'm glad he said
like
that,
it.
because people listening are, usually in the entrepreneurial space. And I think, again, like you mentioned, they need to hear that.
Mhm.
They need to hear that, like, the outside noise doesn't matter, right? And acceptance isn't always going to be there.
It's always gonna be there. The loud noise from everybody else.
Right.
Mm.
Until you make it.
How do you find, especially in that industry, right, where things are so artistic, right? So points of view or particular, everybody has a particular point of view of everything. So how do you find like mentorship in that type of realm, right? So how do you find like, seek mentorship, in the fashion industry? Have you before, or do you now?
I haven't seeked out for mentorship, but I can say that I've worked with a couple designers that I do have collaborations coming out next year, and we're gonna present them at Milan Fashion Week. Like this guy O'Dane, he the show Tiger King.
Yeah.
All the clothing that came from that was through his brand, O'Dangerous.
Oh, dang.
And so we're
Oh,
collaborating.
dang.
Yeah. And
Wait, like the cut off, like flannel shirts and stuff?
yeah, all the clothing that came from that, boxers and stuff, underwear,
Yeah.
all of it.
Really?
Yeah.
That's dope.
That's wild.
So he's been in the industry for 20 plus years, and he really introduced me to a lot of the lingo in the industry that I wasn't even aware of, so much. So yeah, I think to the younger viewers as well as everybody else, you should for sure find somebody that's been in the industry that can show you the ropes. Definitely, that's key, because you'll learn, regardless of going to school or regardless of the life experience you get, there's a person that can teach you so much. So much.
Mm.
What's interesting that you said lingo,
Yeah.
right? Because communication is key in business, and you got to speak the right language in those settings.
For sure.
So that's a big key too. Adam's dropping
Just being
gold
educated,
over here. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Sound like you know what you're talking about, right? Yeah.
I try.
Yeah, man. That's a huge factor in when you have relationships with people that have been in the industry for a while. So you might have a new take on something, right? But experience, but there are certain things you probably need to have experience with to have a successful brand in a company.
Definitely.
Right. So knowing how to do business, you know what I'm saying? Knowing how to, because I know a lot of folks, there's a lot of people out there that maybe know their skill set really well, but may not necessarily know how to run a business or turn that skill set into a profitable business yet. So that's one thing I think that is very important to find mentorship, of somebody that has a successful business in the industry that you want to be in. So you can either, sit up under them for a minute, learn some stuff from them, like, okay, oh, that's how you price. All right. So this is why or this is how pricing works. You know what I'm saying? Or this is, finding costs of goods, in different places, how to search out product.
Money's always an aspect.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Having systems in place too.
Yeah. And finding people, finding people to
Definitely.
fill roles, man. Like, so you're not, man, like, shoot, like, I was realizing just recently, man, like assistants, especially when you get to a certain level of productivity, you need an assistant. You need somebody to handle, I'm not gonna call it the minutia because it's actually very important, but it's I almost don't want to say it this way, but you need to find somebody that can handle the $15 an hour tasks so you can focus on the $1,000 a day tasks.
Definitely.
You know what I'm saying? And getting around people that already have successful businesses and already are running profitable businesses, hopefully, it's always good to, have people like that around you so they can help course correct, but you always have your eye on your mission, man. So that's really cool to see, man. That's really cool to let you have somebody
Yeah,
that
definitely.
and they're collaborating together.
Yeah.
That's fire.
And I met him in New York at a Grammy event like 4 years ago. And then we had no contact after that. And then 2019 Grammys in LA, we actually reconnected somehow at the Republica Records event, and we got back in contact. We connected, and now we're collaborating. Small world, full circle.
How important is it to get into events, man? How important is it to get into events like, you know, the Grammys or like the Fashion Week? Like, how important would you say getting into those events are?
I think it's depending on the level of success you're trying to reach, because those people are at the top. It is so good to like I said, networking. That's the mecca of networking, is being in those events where the top guys are in your industry. Whether it's the Grammys, whether it's, you know, Milan Green Carpet Fashion Awards, whether it's Venice Film Festival. Being in those environments, not only can you learn about everything that's already going on in the industry, but you can start to see how actions are being taken from the people that are already there in the position that you want to be in.
A VIP at EDC or Together as One or something, you know what I mean, too, and get in the back room with the DJs, dude.
Yeah, dude. I used to sneak. I was so determined to be surrounded by these guys that I idolized, that I would be sneaking into the Grammys before I could even get an actual invitation. I would sneak in solely for the fact that I wanted to network. I wanted to get in with these guys and make my presence known in the industry.
So, dude, I love that you said that. So you get in. Let's just say you're in, right? You weren't supposed to be there, but you're in. What do you say? How are you marketing yourself? Like how are you getting those contacts? Like,
so I have had business cards from the day that I began making clothing. I've had business cards. I use my Instagram. Obviously, I'm part of this generation, so it's like much easier for me to, you know, use social media platforms as a way to connect with people. But also, I'm more so an old soul in a sense. I like to be face to face with a person, and all my meetings happen in person. So
sure,
you know.
So do you have a
like an elevator pitch?
Yeah, like a script, like a pitch, like something you say all the time. Like,
you want to hear something crazy? Shout out Justin Perry, my brother. He gives me may I curse on here?
He
gives me shit for this all the time. But so I'm a networker. I'm not really looking for friends yet. I'll look for friends when I get there. But I always start with my sentence with, I'm a fashion designer from Los Angeles, but I live in Milan, Italy. I make custom clothing for high-profile clients. I work with all the celebrities, DJs, etc. And that's what I say. That's my finish line. And my brother always gives me shit for it, because he's like, "Oh, how are you gonna make real friendships like that?" I'm not looking for friends, bro. I'm looking to work hard.
Right.
Can I get a clues bomb? Where's a clues bomb?
Yeah.
We need to have a clues bomb on this thing, bro.
Yeah.
Can I get it? Jeez, that was fire.
I think, but I'm gonna just challenge you a little bit, because networking is obviously important. But I personally believe, kind of like your brother, that at some point you have to start to build a relationship, right? So you can go in with the intent like, hey, how can I add value to you, and what value can you bring to me? And let's figure this out like a business standpoint. But those long-term relationships, I think, because people are only going to introduce you to somebody who maybe is a little bit higher than them or has experienced more success, if they feel like they can trust you and there's a little bit of a relationship. And that's just my personal opinion.
Sure.
Behind the scenes, you know, that industry, it may be something a little bit different. So not necessarily just being, so I think I understand your mindset, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you're like, I'm not looking for friendships. I'm looking to network. Network is like more, in my opinion, the business aspect of it, right? And friendships, some people can be like, the thought process might be like, well, I'm not looking to do business. I just want to be like pals, right? But I think if you compare both of those and start to build those relationships, whether it's sending them that book on, you know, timepieces or whatever, like the example we're talking off camera, I think if you pair both of those, dude, is what your brother's probably trying to say. Like, hey, build those relationships simultaneously. That might be a game changer for you, bro, because you're likable, right? And you got integrity and stuff, and you know, a man of God from what I gathered and stuff. So, yeah, man, I think you'd have a great opportunity if you start going there intentional. Like, hey, I'm talking business, right? But let's build a relationship as well, like you did with O'Dane, and now you're collaborating.
Definitely.
So,
and then, you know, I like that point, man. And just like you said, you know what the overall outcome is, right? To have a profitable relationship. You know, having profitable relationships, you just never know who somebody's going to introduce you to.
Definitely.
Because like, you know, I just a recent experience, even just myself, like, man, you know, I put on my I wrote it down. I was like, look, I want to get to know business owners in the area. So guess what? I was like, there's like certain events happening in the area, and guess what? You got to get up, got to get dressed. You got to put your, get your mind right. Because most folks be like, man, I'll find some people online, or I'll get some, I'll do it the easy way. I'll do it with the least amount of, what's it called? The least amount of resistance.
I don't think it's easy though. I think it's lazy.
The lazy way. There we go. And like you said, sometimes you got to get your feet on the ground. Get your feet on the ground as far as, get out there in the mud, man, meet people, shake hands, kiss babies, hand your card out, have a, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Not no more, man, because nobody's random baby. But, but having that mindset to be like, you know what, like you said, you able to have kind of a blend of, like you said, the social media aspect, but also the old soul aspect. Like, man, let's talk. Let's have a conversation. Let's do that together. I think, and what I've noticed, actually, what some of the more seasoned people appreciate is younger people actually taking that approach too, man. Like I've just noticed that recently. They like that approach, man. Come and talk with it. Give it a great, I don't know if people fist bump now, COVID or whatever, fist bump or handshake, and talking to, and having direct contact
For sure.
And being willing to, get to learn about people too. Learning about people, I think, is a big thing. Yeah. As well, studying your marketplace.
Well, there's definitely a transfer of energy when you're face to face that you're not going to get on social media or somebody's highlight reel, right? So,
yeah, man.
I'm learning. Right.
Me too.
Honestly, man. Yeah, I'm learning from you. So, age really is nothing but a number, right? I probably got you beat by 20-something years, 30 years. So,
who cares?
Yeah.
Man, learn. Every day, man, take an opportunity to learn something. Like I think, Zulu would talk about his dad, and I'm probably gonna mess this up a little bit, but he would say, every day they come home, and he'd be like, "Hey, what'd you learn today?" And if you didn't learn, they said, "I don't remember. I don't know." Like, well, what you wasted the day. Nothing. Like today was not you didn't progress at all if you didn't learn something new today, right? So that's very, very, very important, man. We gotta stay learning. It doesn't matter where it's coming from. Like you said, it could come from a little kid. You can learn something just from, I don't know. Isn't that a Bible verse somewhere? I don't know. From the mouths of babes or something like that. I don't know.
I'm sure there is.
Kind of ask TP about that one.
Yeah.
So how do you self-educate, man? How do you keep yourself up to, whether it's ahead of the curve or, really just ahead of the game when it comes to fashion? Do you like self-educate? What are some of the things you're doing?
Going to school was probably one of the best ideas that my parents as well as I had. That was my initial thing for going to Milan was going to school.
Okay.
So once I was introduced to the school, which is Istituto Marangoni, shout them out, seventh best fashion school.
Hey, say that again, man, because there's going to be some ladies on here that's going to want you to repeat that.
Istituto Marangoni, seventh best fashion school in the world. Based in Milan, Paris, London, Mumbai, all over the world, realistically. Back to what you were saying, though. I think, sorry.
How do you educate yourself? Self-educate.
Sorry, I just got sidetracked. Okay, so self-education. So back to the school thing. I learned probably 99% of what I thought I knew, and I didn't know anything. Honestly, I knew nothing. What would your term be for this right here? Like, just cut off the sleeves. What would that be?
What do you mean?
People would call it a vest, right?
Right. Okay.
But it's called a bodice. Like the lingo. Back to the lingo. So many aspects of the fashion world that I didn't even comprehend or even think were possible. For pattern making, you got to go from paper to paper again to paper on the mannequin to then that paper being on fabric, whether it's on fold or not. And there's so many variables that go into it. It's people think you just grab fabric and start sewing together a piece, but it's so much more into depth.
Whoa. I didn't even realize that.
I didn't know bodice was a word.
Yeah. I didn't either until I got introduced.
Yo, that's crazy. That's interesting. So, man, okay. So what is some of the, that was one aspect.
Why
right?
is that important?
Yeah.
Let me get back to that. So no, just for this specifically, why is bodice important in your opinion? So if I were to just say, hey, I want to take a button down shirt with a collar and cut off the sleeves, right? If you were trying to describe that to, let's say, a purchaser or something, you couldn't just call it a cutoff shirt with sleeve or a button-down shirt with cut-off sleeves, right?
Well, they call it a vest. They would just call it a vest, but the term before it becomes an actual vest is a bodice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Dang, interesting. Wow.
But if you didn't know that, then you would sound like uneducated,
Yeah.
and then like you'd lose credibility, right?
Definitely.
So, okay.
Oh, okay. I get what you're saying now.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was trying to get them to say, like, why is that important to know? You lose credibility.
Yeah, like before I was in school and I was capable of attending all these fashion shows and stuff. Say I would point something out on a garment to just a random person who's been in the industry. I'm sure I sounded foolish saying, "Oh, like, look at this part of the shirt," like, and that's not what it was at all. Like, their terminology for it was much different. But I just had no education on it yet.
Oh, interesting. And that's very, that made me think of just so many situations just in life. Learn the lingo. Go ahead.
I think everything is tough. I think people think that being a mailman is not tough, but realistically, anything that you're introduced to, anything that you start, you need to learn the lines. Everything's going to have its tough areas. Everything's going to have its easy areas. But at the end of the day, there's so many minimal factors that make it what it is.
Yeah. You know what's funny about that, man, is I bartended for a long time. And for me, as I started to get older, especially like once I became a father or knew I was going to become a dad, like to me, being a bartender, I was almost, there was a little bit of like shame, like, man, I'm not anywhere near I want to be. I'm not a career man. I don't have a profession, right? Because I was just a bartender. So sometimes I think people sell themselves short with like a mailman, right? Like you just said, dude, there's something that's difficult about that, right? But a mailman would be like, I'm a mailman if he's in a room full of business people, right? What I found was when I started to say, well, yeah, I used to bartend. Dude, these successful people are like, oh my God, that's something I could never do. Like I've always, like I loved the idea of like maybe even trying that when I was younger, but I don't think I could ever do it. And I'm like, oh shit, I used to make like 22 drinks every 3 minutes. And they're like, are you freaking kidding me? I'm like, nah, dude. So I started to get this pride, which was weird because when I was in it, I felt almost a little bit of, although I enjoyed my job, I just felt like in the wrong room, I was a nobody. But once those people knew what I used to do, they're like, dude, I admire people that can do that, right?
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
I don't know. It's I don't even know the point I was trying to make, but I just found that interesting that you said that. Like, there's everything has some difficulty about it, and so
Take
whatever
pride in
it
what
is
you
you're
do.
doing, take pride. Yeah, exactly.
For sure.
Take pride in what you do, because it's like, you know what? At that point in life, you may not have been able to be like, you. At that point, you're like, I'm not a a corporate exec or something like that. So I might not necessarily know exactly how to do what you do yet. But guess what? You can't do what I can do.
Right.
Definitely.
You know what I'm saying? And they admire that. And then even in that profession, you're like, man, bartenders, people that work, that bartenders, they know what people are. They know the people that come in there. They know how to have conversation. They multitask. Like, man, just knowing the ins and outs of it. Because I already know. I try and make a drink. It's effed up. So,
well, you know what I learned about that too, man? I kind of learned networking. I kind of learned relationship building, man. There's so many things that I'm not interested in, but I knew people at the bar top like to talk sports or like to talk current events, right? So before I'd go into work, bro, I'd turn on Sports Center and the news for an hour, hour and a half, just so I can hear some current events and then go in and ask people like, oh man, you see Tiger shot like 4 under par? Bro, I know nothing about golf, nor did I care about it. You know what I mean? But there was a couple of golfers who wanted to. And just me starting that sentence got them engaged. And I'd say, oh, man, I seen you look up. Dude, what'd you think about that? And then they start talking. They're switching seats, and now they're making connections. Guess what happened? Next week, they're coming back in to see me. I said one thing, right? So there was those were skills that I learned, was how to get people to build relationships and connecting people.
Yeah,
I think that's what networking is for you, right? Is
Yeah.
connecting people or connecting with people.
yo, that's fire, man. Man, shout out to all the bartenders out there connecting people, man.
If you're doing a little bit of work, right? I
Yeah.
think you need to do work on the back, behind the scenes too. It's not just getting in there and pouring and making cocktails. Just like it's not tying some or sewing some fabric together, right?
Yeah.
Like there's detail there, and there's depth, and there's research and discovery.
Man, what's shooting with discovery? What have you learned about yourself? Kind of, being in Milan. So being literally, I don't even know how many thousands of miles away that is.
It's like 6,000, I believe.
Yeah, that's far, bro. He was talking about it was like 20 hours to get there.
I could swim there, bro.
Like, try it.
You probably get eaten by a shark first 20 minutes. Bro.
Yeah.
I mean, but what was something that you kind of learned about yourself? Being away from everything you've known.
Yeah.
And now you're in a whole new environment. What have you learned about yourself?
How mentally strong I am, because I overcame a lot that first day. I couldn't reach out to my mother because there was no Wi-Fi and the whole block was out of electricity. I couldn't reach my mother or father when I first got there, so I broke down. That was the first thing. I broke down. It started to feel like, and I've always been a confident and very positive person. All my outlooks extremely positive. It started to look like everything was going downhill, so I was about maybe 2 seconds away from buying a flight right back home, right after arriving to the hotel.
Really?
Yeah, I swear to God, I was literally about to go get on a flight and head straight back home. No word said to my family, I'm coming home.
But so it wasn't just the fact that there was no Wi-Fi. Like what? Like
it was
walk us through what happened, bro.
Okay, I apologize. So
I think there's a lesson here for people.
it was almost like I began to look through a new lens. Like everything was different. In the United States, we're constantly industrializing. Out there, their buildings are some of the oldest buildings ever created.
Mm-hmm.
So it was not only architecturally shocking, culturally shocking, it was the people, the language barrier. Even though I had been studying the language for 10 months prior to leaving, it all went out the door. Dude, I was so scared. Think about that, being a 21-year-old kid just heading out to a not random country, Italy, and just totally thinking you've prepared enough, but what your preparation didn't breed any type of confidence. It honestly just went out the door as soon as I got there. You can never be ready for something like that, especially coming from a place where, your family has tried to give you everything that you've ever wanted, and then having to do literally everything for yourself, from opening up a bank account to, paying for your phone bill. Like, it's just so many little things. Paying for rent. The first 3 months I was there.
Adulting, huh?
Adulting, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. Deep end, throw it in the deep end.
Yeah, for sure. And paying for rent. I thought that, so in Italy you have to go to the tenant and pay him monthly. I don't know how it is out here because I don't pay. But I literally for 3 months didn't pay anything because I thought that they was just like charging my card.
So you got the eviction notice, and you're like, wait a minute.
They sent a mail, or sorry about that. There was an envelope outside my door, and it stated, "Please come to the office. Like, you have not paid anything." And I was just like, "What? What are you talking about?" I head down to the office, and it just showed me how uneducated I was about the whole world. Like, it was. You should definitely take risks and just exit your comfort zone. And I think that's probably, as a kid, trying to be successful, that's probably the number one thing you could do, is just leave everything you ever knew and allow yourself to gain a global perspective of the world and add to what you already know, rather than just stay consistent and,
Yo, that's an interesting take, too. I kind of even take it, maybe even take it even deeper than that. It's like we're taught to be in a box. Just from when we're kids we have like just such a, and I would hope too, just amazing aspirations, right? It's like, I want to be an astronaut, and I want to be a doctor, and I want to be a veterinarian. It's like, I want to do all these things. And then kind of life as we grow, we get a little older, you kind of get smacked around a little bit. You're kind of like, all right, well, if I can at least do this, then I'll be happy. But I think that perspective on, getting all the way outside of your comfort zone, especially, man, I mean, I think like around like 18, 20, that age range, I think is very, very important for perspective, because you can either get locked into a box real quick within the next couple of years after that, or you can literally explode out of the box.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? Whether it's being in a whole different country, or it's taking almost a chance on yourself a little bit too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, who said it? You'll probably know, but I've heard that like somebody said most men die at 25. We just don't get around to burying them till they're like 65
Wow.
or 80 or something like that, right?
Martin
And
Luther King.
Was it MLK?
Mhm.
Psh, intelligence, right? Like it's profound, dude. Because most people do. They give up. They get comfortable in that box. But I want to go back to what you were saying. So you said I was 2 seconds away from buying a flight back.
Yeah,
What kept you from doing that?
Oh, okay. So yeah, let me just go
Car
into
didn't go
depth with
through.
the story. How about that? So basically, I walk into the hotel. The guy says, "There's the lights are all black. There's nothing. I can't see anything." Like the guy's like, "Your room's right here next to the office." So I was first level, and he's like, "Electricity's out. It'll probably be out until tonight." And I'm tripping. I'm like, "Yo, I'm all I want to do is."
Here's a candle.
No. He just said, "Yeah, good luck" or something in Italian, and then I'm like, I'm in the room still trying to gather other Wi-Fi, maybe roaming in from another building or something, and it didn't work. And usually I'm the guy that will just leave and go walk around. But in that time, I was just so new to all these things that it was just shocking. So I go and ask him. I'm like, "Hey, can I please call my mom on your phone? I'm just a young kid. I'm here to learn. I'm here to go to school. I'm here to be a fashion designer." And he said no at first. Then I go back to the room and I start breaking down. That's when I started to really think like, dude, I'm going home. I started putting like all my clothes back in my bag and stuff. And after that, I go back outside. Something kept pushing me. Probably God kept pushing me to continue to just thrust back at him. And so I went back out there. I said, "Hey, can I please use your phone?" He could see that I was hurting. I was really hurting. And he's finally said yes. I call my mother. So mind you, it's like it's like 2 p.m., 1 p.m. out there, which means it's 3 a.m. over here, which I'm 9 hours ahead when I'm in Milan. And so she picked up within the first 2 seconds. I don't know how.
Oh, moms.
I told you earlier. So she picks up, and right when I heard her voice, I came back to myself. And in all honesty, I'm forever indebted to my mother because I would not succeed without her for sure. For sure. She's everything to me, honestly. And she's been there to be emotionally supportive as well as everything that you would want a woman to be. She's been that for me.
That's fire, man.
Hey,
Shout out to mamas.
We
man.
got our name from a woman and our game from a woman.
What was that, Tupac?
Tupac,
Hey, shout out
you know?
Tupac.
You know what I'm saying? Man, that's a big deal, man. And shout out to the office guy, for being like, let me let this young kid use the phone. Man, that's amazing. Man, 2 seconds from literally to that's 3 feet from gold, man.
Yep.
3 feet from gold, man. Most people they give up on that last swing.
Yeah, exactly. And that last swing was gonna be their make it. So it's
That's
crazy.
fire, man. Yo,
That is. Adversity, man, will strike, right? When you get out of that comfort zone, too.
Yeah.
And I think that's obviously the thought of that adversity, even whether you don't think it's adversity or not, or you use a different word, right? The enemy or whatever the case may be. The thought of it is what paralyzes people. But you have to understand that even once you do it, right, that next step, you have to still expect it. It's that adversity is still going to come.
For sure.
No pressure, no diamonds.
Flew to another country, no electricity, no Wi-Fi, no way of communicating, right,
Yeah.
with the people you love, and
Drowning in my
still
thoughts.
push through. Yeah.
Everything was hitting me at once. It was,
In the
it was-
darkness,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Like drowning in your thoughts in the dark. bro.
Literally.
Like, yeah. I mean, dude, that's crazy. That's almost poetic.
But it's experiences like that that'll make you never fear anything. Honestly, I feel like I could do anything now.
Being
That's awesome.
20 hours away from your peoples, man. Yeah, that's clutch, man. It's just sticking through it. It's like, you know what? I'm on mission. Stay on mission. And then just hearing the voice, a comforting voice. Okay. Let me
Back to go mode.
back to go mode.
It recentered you, huh?
Yeah,
Put that
for
on a
sure.
t-shirt, man. Back to go mode. But yeah, man, I'm this was fire, man. This was really fire. What are kind of closing out here, man? What's some of the what's next for you? What's the next phase for you right now?
Probably, getting back to Milan, attending events, networking, of course, that's always a plus. And then, the future collaborations that I have coming out with certain designers like O'Dane I was telling you about. And probably next year I plan to get a job with one of the top tier brands like a Burberry or something, maybe even head to London. I love what Ricardo Tisci has done. He's one of my idols in the industry for sure.
That's sick. That's sick, man. And what do you shoot? Dang, I don't even want to finish now. All right, so what's some of the keys for somebody to get involved with one of the top brands? Because I mean, it's one of the top brands for a reason. So what's one of the keys, and what do you see as being a benefit from going to one of the top brands?
The reward always trumps the risk. I mean, like I said, I'm not going to tell anybody to go do something illegal like sneaking into these high profile events where there's security police outside. But at the end of the day, there really is no way to get near these guys unless you're doing things like that, things that there are things that are unthinkable, honestly, because not a lot of people are willing to put themselves on the line to grow and succeed in the industry that they want to. And I feel like sometimes you really just got to go the extra mile. Even if it doesn't seem like it's right, you got to.
Okay.
And it's probably the things that those dudes and guys and gals, right? Those top people, they took the same path.
For sure.
Right? Like they snuck into things and, you know what I mean? Maybe worked for free or hid in the mailroom or, you know what I mean? They did those things. So when you actually do them, you've actually separated yourself from the rest of the people that say, hey, I want to be there, but they're not willing to do that. Right.
Sure.
So, that there's a big lesson there.
I like it, man. So where can the people find you, man?
You can find me on all platforms at ATOMPERRY. And yes, my name is Adam Perry. I love you all.
I like it,
That's
man.
awesome.
I like it, man. Any closing remarks?
No, I loved it. If you listen to this, I would go back and there's a lot of gold and nuggets in there. And I'm excited, me personally, to see just what the next few years looks like for you, man. And hopefully we can build a relationship.
For sure.
And, in any of those things moving forward that, Alex and or myself can help you out with, serving the homeless and things like that. Like that's actually one of the missions that's on my heart as well. So, man, I'm excited.
Maybe
I'm just
we could
excited.
collaborate one day on a fund for them.
Yeah.
You never know. Just so many opportunities, so many lanes to answer.
Absolutely.
Man,
you guys are young, bro. Honestly, you guys talking like you
I
old as
appreciate
hell.
you saying that. I'm the oldest one in the room right now.
No, but you still young. Your energy's young. That's all that matters, bro. You're gonna live long. Trust
I appreciate. Yeah, you know what, man? I just told somebody the other day that I think I'm gonna make it to at least 110, and they're like 110. I'm like, yeah, dude, I'll still be good too.
If you believe it, it'll happen.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to do backflips at 110 too, man. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? But shoot, man, I'm excited about this, man. Get everybody out there. Just remember to like, comment, subscribe, man. Go follow my man. Go follow my man Adam. Follow all of us for that matter. You know what I'm saying? But definitely stay on the lookout for this one as it drops. But you know what?
Hey, you know what? I actually have one more thing.
Oh, yeah.
We got merch coming.
Oh,
We got some merchandise coming, so we'll be doing some giveaways. I know we've been talking about it for a while, and we had a little bit of red tape to cut through, but stay on
It's
the lookout
coming
for
now,
that stuff.
dog. It's
Yeah.
coming. It's coming now, man. Plus, we got connects now. You know what I'm saying?
Sure. Come out to Italy, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I'm actually doing an Italy trip next year too. But man, shoot, without no further ado, no pressure.
No diamonds.
Let's do it.